Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your July soul session. I'm Princess India. If you're new and if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and what's not or whatever. So, anywho, okay, I guess this one. We're going to go ahead and jump into you guys' cards. We're looking at an overall energy as well as a challenge, and then we're getting into that's the next one, a more specific spread to see what's going on with you all for the month of July. So let's hop right in. Our overall energy for my Virgos is the Knight of Cuppies. Okay. And this is challenged by, interesting, the Justice card. That is Libra energy. I'm going to go ahead and clarify this Knight of Cuppies to see if this is a person that is making an offer for you, Virgo. Let's see here. Oh, that's too many cards. What is this Knight of Cups about? What is this Knight of Cups about? Oh. All tied up. Interesting. Okay. Fascinating. I don't know if y'all saw that because my autofocus is not being nice to me today. Interesting. So what this is looking like, Virgo, I mean, this could be another person. This could be you guys. This could go one or two ways. So more or less what it's looking like is, Virgo, you're in a place to where there's something you want to say, a message that you want to communicate to someone. It doesn't have to be romantical. I mean, this could literally be anyone. This could be friends. This could be your boss. It could be the world, whatever. But it's wanting to communicate something, but feeling as if you can't. It's almost like your hands are tied. You know what I mean? This could very well be a rationalization as well. But kind of the vibe I get looking at this in contrast with this Justice, and even in the bigger context of all of the soul sessions for this month, I feel if you don't speak the truth about what you're feeling, there's going to be consequences for that, whether for good or for bad, depending on the situation. But it feels very much to me there could be a little suppression that's going on here as well, which would mean that because I look at all tied up very much as like the Eight of Swords energy. So and it's ignoring your vacating your emotions and being tied up in your headspace, you know what I'm saying, and denying your emotions. But I feel what the main issue is here is what it is that you're feeling, and that needing to be communicated. And I say whether for good or for bad, because I mean, it could be something that's upsetting you and you're not speaking the truth about that, but you're rationalizing it by saying like, oh, I can't speak the truth. I can't say how it is I really feel. No one cares about how I feel. Or, is that even really going to make a difference? You know what I mean? Or it could be, you needing to tell the truth about something in like a good sense. I don't know. Maybe you might want to tell someone that you love them. You know what I'm saying? But you're telling yourself like, oh, I'm probably going to be rejected. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like putting the ball in your court, which is pretty much like the overall theme for all the signs this month, is like however things pan out, it's all going to be because of what you do or what you don't do, or rather what you say or what you don't say. You know what I mean? So there's a truth that needs to be spoken, but I feel that Virgo is kind of holding themselves hostage and not speaking the truth because you're telling yourself there's some reason why you can't speak this truth. But it's just making sure that that you accept the consequences for either speaking up or not speaking up. But I feel the takeaway for a lot of signs this month has been the need to honor your emotional space. It's like honoring vulnerability. It's like regardless of what the consequences are, it's kind of the theme that I'm seeing. If I put it in the context with you guys cards, it's almost like people are putting more weight on the Justice card and completely nullifying or ignoring what the overall energy would be, being, the Knight of Cups. So it's like the outcome of this or the consequences are outweighing the truth of the situation. So if there's a positive consequence for not speaking up, it's looking like a lot of signs are leaning towards, I'm not going to say anything so that I don't have to be rejected or ignored or, whatever the case, proverbially speaking, you know what I mean? But I can't tell you, what you should or shouldn't do. The only thing that I say is walking away from this, what position would you rather be in? Would you rather be in the position of you not speaking your truth and everything staying copacetic and you not rocking the boat? Or would you rather, receive a less than stellar consequence, and that came out so weird, consequence, knowing that you went into this and you spoke your truth, right? Like, what would make you feel better at the end of the day? So in truth, there isn't really a right or wrong answer. It's just about what you would feel more comfortable living with, if I could put it that way. Now, getting into our more specific spread, your central energy that's representing you all, wow, for the month of July, we have the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse. Your past influence coming from the end point of June and the early part of July into now is the 4 of Swords in the reverse. So there's been a bit of unrest going on here. Your hidden influence, okay, is the Hanged Man in the reverse. That is Aquarius energy for me, but because I forgot one day, I started saying Aquarius, Pisces, and Cancer. So whatever floats your boat. And your outcome, we have the 9 of Cuppies in the reverse, and what to look out for moving forward. We have the 4 of Pentacles. This is pretty much straight to the point here. So coming out of the end of June, early part of July into now, we have the 4 of Swords in the reverse. So the thing is, there's been some unrest here. And specifically what I feel with this unrest is it's a bit of avoidance, if I could say it that way. So kind of this thing I've been seeing with everyone is, when we quiet our mind, we're alone, when we're by ourselves, the truth always, rises to the surface. Like, we have to face ourselves, when we're alone, which is why, meditation is so important. You know what I mean? But I feel leading up until now, there could be a lot of distraction that's been going on. And I was kind of feeling a vibe of a little bit of overindulgence with our overall energy here. With, there could be a little over drinking, overeating. There could be, staying super busy to where you don't really, slow down, like tuckering yourself out to where, all you can do is come home and like go to bed. And I feel the reason for that is because there's like an avoidance of wanting to sit in silence or sit with your thoughts, because there's things that are going to come up that you may not necessarily want to deal with. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like staying busy, doing a lot of stuff, or, overindulging in something to prevent yourself from being alone, it could even be like hanging out with your friends a lot or inviting people over to your house, like whatever the case. Doing things to keep yourself distracted so that you're not having to sit alone with yourself and with your thoughts. But I feel that's the thing that's really needed. You know what I mean? Because there's a need to get to the truth of the matter, right? There's a lot of like avoidance that's going on here. You know what I mean? So coming into the midpoint of the month, that's where you guys are at, is like, how I would see it from my perspective is like you guys are trying to avoid the truth about a situation because you're not ready to confront that. But I can tell you that's what the root of the issue is here, because all of the little dilly-dallying that you're doing aside, like what your stuff you're doing to avoid getting to the truth of the matter, it's kind of only making stuff worse and kind of prolonging the inevitable, in so many words, right? And with that leading us up into the present moment with this 10 of Cups in the reverse representing you guys, it's like you're avoiding the truth, but where you are in the meantime, in between time, isn't necessarily the best place either. You know what I mean? Because it's being like emotionally bankrupt in a sense. And I mean, we could say this literally, where maybe a lot of the things that you guys are doing, like if you're going out doing stuff with friends, whatever, you're literally spending money. So that's kind of, chipping away at your little nest egg or your bank account, your paycheck, however it is that you want to look at it. But all of this, like I said, over time, this is just kind of making things worse because it's not acknowledging the issue, right? And for some of you guys, this could literally be a straight financial issue. You know what I mean? To where, I don't know, your light bill is due. And it's something you know you need to pay, but it's like you're still going out and spending money on stuff that you really don't have. And it's not wanting to deal with the factor. I mean, it would be even worse if we went like scratch the light bill and say that this is like a house going into foreclosure. You know what I mean? Like, you know that your house is going into foreclosure. The bank is giving you a certain amount of time, but it's like not wanting to deal with that, not wanting to ask for help, just pretending it's not happening and just going on with life as usual. You know what I mean? But eventually, this is something that, you know, is gonna come back to bite you in the butt, because you're gonna have to deal with it anyway. And that's like a consistent theme that I've been seeing with all the signs of like not wanting to face what it is that's actually happening. I just did a whole lecture about it in Aquarius, where I was talking about this contrast. I talked about it in Libra too, this contrast of people having an aversion to being content or with accepting where it is that they are, because people see that as like quitting and it's not. It's like a misunderstanding of that concept. And that's similar to kind of what it is I'm seeing for you guys, but it's different in the sense of it not being a thing of contentment or well, I would say it's more on the side of acceptance, is needing to accept what it is that's happening right now so that change can occur, because you're not going to be able to solve the problem until you accept that there actually is a problem, right? But where it is that you guys are showing up, you're in a deficit. Like where it is that you guys are at present, you're not really happy with it. You aren't content. You know what I mean? And it's just more or less coming to a place of accepting that so we can actually start to get to solutions. Now, when we're looking at our hidden influence being the hangman in the reverse, there's a lack thereof of personal accountability here. So it's not taking personal accountability for yourself. I wouldn't go as far as to say, you know, with anyone else that you're not personally accountable, but I feel for, you know, looking at these two cards being diagonal from each other, this Four of Swords in the reverse and the hangman in the reverse, that's really telling me where this issue of accountability lies. It's the fact that it's kind of lying to yourself, Virgo, if I can be honest. Because of course I know in the bigger scheme of things, like stuff is uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like I'm guilty of that. It's like before I forced myself to like deal with my finances and like put myself on, you know, an allowance and a budget and allocate money for stuff, I was always a person where I never wanted to check my bank account. Like I just did not want to check it. Like even if I wasn't about to buy anything, like I turned off notifications from my bank because I'm like, I don't even want to know how much money is in there. You know what I'm saying? Just because I was a person where I could see how much was in my account, it would ruin my whole day. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's not that, you know, it's not enough money to last me into like the next paycheck or whatever. It's just the thought of like, oh my gosh, I only have like $200 left to my name. Like that would just like ruin my day. Like that was literally like my thing. So I would always just like ignore it. You know what I mean? But that didn't help when it came to wanting to save money or, you know, get to the point where I am now. None of that was helping me to get there. So I just kept perpetuating the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? But I feel for you guys, even if this isn't like a finance thing, it's the fact of that discomfort. It's the thought of, oh, if I see this, it's going to ruin my day. It's going to make me sad. So you're going to constantly avoid it. But the longer that you're avoiding it, the bigger that the problem is going to become. When you could just bite the bullet, you could look at it, get that uncomfortable feeling, and then start creating solutions. But I feel this lack of personal accountability is with the self. It's the fact that when there are things that are uncomfortable, it's avoiding those things and hoping that, you know, they work out on their own, or telling yourself you'll deal with it later when I, you know, am in a better mood, maybe tomorrow. It's kind of putting it off, but it's not acknowledging that those problems are building interest over time and they're still very much there. You know what I mean? It's kind of like having a credit card and like not paying your credit card bill. It's like if you're not paying your balance off, you know, every month, it's like they're going to keep tacking on interest to that amount that's, in, that you have charged off or whatever. So it's like the smart thing to do is to just handle it, you know what I mean, while you can, in so many words. But that's what I feel like the root of the issue is the lack thereof of personal accountability with the self. And as opposed to experiencing a discomfort for facing what may be a hard truth, it's kind of trying to coast past it to not deal with it. Now, with our potential outcome for this, it's the Nine of Cups in the reverse, which means you're in an unhappy place. It's like, with everything it is that you've done up to that particular point, we're saying this is the end part of July going into August. It's like not being content, not being satisfied, not being fulfilled with the way that things are. That brings us back to, our past influence that's bringing us into this place. Why is it that we could end the month like discontent and unhappy, right? It's not because of life circumstances. It's not, other people. It's not anything like that. This is all something that is within, your power to shift, change, and be in control of. But there's a need to take personal accountability for it, right? And I feel like this all starts with coming out of this learned helplessness. And that's going back to our overall energy. It's like your hands are not tied. You're not really bound. You're not really stuck, right? You have a multitude of options. You're not backed into a corner. It's just the main thing. And I feel like July is really about everyone kind of like facing fears in a sense, because to me, it's like the main, like, I don't know, get out of jail free card in a sense for Virgo in the month of July is you guys speaking your truth about something, but it's you telling yourself that you can't. You know what I'm saying? Because the challenge with justice is reward and punishment. You get to make the choice whether it's a reward or it's punishment. It isn't the universe. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Divine timing don't have nothing to do with that. It's just really about asking you to do something that you really don't want to do, or asking you to acknowledge or face or accept a truth that you really don't want to face or acknowledge, right? That's what the discomfort and the dis-ease, if you will, is. But I feel at the same time, being in this 10 of Pentacles in the reverse, it's like you guys, and I've said this to like everyone, you're never going to get what it is that you truly desire if you're trying to acquire it by dodging the main thing that needs to be dealt with here. So if the big fear is speaking your truth or communicating your truth or saying how it is that you really feel, like expressing what it is that you really feel, if you are telling yourself that it's a no-go, right? If you're avoiding doing that at all costs, thus not taking personal responsibility, you're always going to be in the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse. You're always going to be in a deficit. You're always going to be unhappy, because the only pathway to the 10 of Pentacles being upright, to the 9 of Cups being upright, is by you doing the one thing that you don't want to do. So like I've been saying for everyone, there's only one thing that's standing between you and what you want. And it's literally you and the one thing that you're afraid of. You know, if I were to encapsulate it to say like vulnerability, right? If the thing that you're deathly terrified of is being vulnerable with someone, and the doorway to your destiny is the door of vulnerability, then you going through the door of happiness, you going through the door of wealth, you going through the door of love, you going through the door of charity, you going through the door of mercy, none of those things are going to get you to where it is that you want to be, because the door that's going to lead you to what you want is through the door of vulnerability. If you absolutely refuse that, then you can might as well refuse your destiny, because what I've been telling everyone is, like I have told you guys for years, you cannot cheat life. You can't. It's like the best way out is through. If you don't want to go through, then you're not going to get to. That rhymed. I should like make that a thing, put it on a t-shirt or something. You know what I'm saying? So I feel where there's this half-hearted happiness or this discontentment with life, it's coming from one place. And it's the fact that the one thing that you're avoiding is literally like your salvation in a sense. With the sign before you guys, I think it was Sagittarius or Aquarius. I think it was Aquarius. But I likened it to Dante's Inferno. It's like, I literally said, If you want to make it to Paradiso, if you're familiar with the book, if you want to make it to Paradiso, you have to descend the 9 circles of hell, and you have to, face the devil face to face. That's the only way to Paradiso. If you refuse to do that, then you're just going to be, rummaging around, the other 8 circles of hell for eons. You know what I'm saying? There's no way out of it but to go through it. It's like you have to face your fear. So the main thing that's keeping you from what it is that you want is the thing that you fear and that you're avoiding the most. And the thing to look out for, which, encapsulates all of this, is this 4 of Pentacles. It's being in this headspace and heart space, really, because I always talk about the heart chakra and the crown chakra with the 4 of Pentacles. It's more or less you're holding on to this false sense of security, right? And that's what closes off your heart space, and your heart space with your chakras, right? Your heart chakra is the one that balances everything out, because you have your 3 higher chakras and your 3 lower chakras. You have your heart chakra that's blending, those 2 things of the human you and the intangible you, like the spiritual you, in so many words. But when your heart chakra is unbalanced, that forces you to descend into your 3 lower chakras, which are your human chakras. So you're living like in a survival lack mentality, right? And the rest of all this is completely thrown off, right? So eventually, with your heart chakra being unbalanced or just stalled out, that's eventually going to cut off your crown chakra, which is your connection to spirit. So and I literally said this verbatim. I think it was Libra that I said this in, with them having the strength in the reverse as their overall energy. It's like what is going on in Libra's reading. If you have that in your chart, check it out. But what's going on in Libra's reading is literally verbatim all of this that I'm talking about. Like Libra's reading is in essence the 4 of Pentacles. There's so many words, because it's showing you how they're coming into the reading, what happens when that heart chakra is shut down, because they've completely descended into their lower chakras. It's like they're living in straight sensory consciousness at the moment, right? But that's what ultimately ends up happening. It's like you're just looking at the limitations of day-to-day life, and you can't see anything else because you're cut off from, your wise mind, your connection to spirit, all of the things, your intuition, whatever it is that you want to call it. You're completely cut off from that. And that forces you even deeper into your humanity, because what the 4 of Pentacles is talking about is that scarcity mindset. Now you're just clinging on to everything that you have in your possession because you feel like you have nothing else. So honestly, even if you don't have Libra in your chart, I will tell you to watch Libra's reading, Virgo, because wait a minute, aren't y'all right next to each other? So maybe y'all are cuspers, right? Because isn't Virgo and Libra like next to each other? So I would say, even if you're not a cusper, if you don't have it in your chart at all, I would suggest to watch Libra, because that gives you the aftermath of what could potentially happen, Virgo, if you guys don't, take accountability for how it is that you've gotten to this place. It would just descend you more into your humanity and just have you like in the sunken place, in so many words, where you feel that you're limited. Like it's you putting yourself into this all tied up 8 of Swords kind of mindset. This would be something that's all created by you, right? Which in turn, with your challenge, it would be a punishment as opposed to a reward. And it wouldn't be the universe. It wouldn't be, karma. It wouldn't be none of that. It would be you literally electing to put yourself there because you went to Home Depot, bought the rope. You are yourself binding your arms. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the Hangman is all about. Like, and I don't know if you guys know that, but with the Hangman, what it's a depiction of is something that Buddhist monks do. Like when they find themselves at an impasse and they need to be enlightened, they would elect to go into the woods, tie themselves to a tree. They would hang upside down to, emulate having another perspective, right? Seeing things from another perspective. And they would sit there until they reached enlightenment and got that other perspective. You know what I'm saying? So the premise of the Hangman, why it's personal accountability, because it's you accepting that you are where you are because of your own choices. It's not that, somebody kidnapped you and then tied you up, to a tree. It's saying like, I'm here. I can't move forward, right? And I can't come down from this tree until, I get my new perspective. But no one put me here. I put myself here. You know what I'm saying? Me being here is the byproduct of my choices. That's why I'm at this impasse and I don't know what to do. You feel what I'm saying? So it's needing to take that personal accountability for where it is that you are. It's not happenstance. You're not, a victim of life. It's choices that you made, whether for good or for bad, and the consequences of those choices that led us to where it is that we are. So for Virgo, all of the components are here. It's just needing to take a step back and seeing how everything interconnects, right? It's the fact of, I don't want to sit still and have this less than stellar thing come up, and I'm avoiding that. And in my avoidance of this, it's pushing me farther on this path and farther away from what it is that I want. You know what I mean? That's the reality of the situation. And being kind of, in a double bind as a byproduct of this is a choice that one made to be there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's avoiding, what's really happening underneath it all. So I feel for this, Virgo, this is do I want to say forewarning? I mean, I'll say forewarning. I would say a forewarning, just for the simple fact that this could stagnate you and put you into a really dead energy. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like we know the end at the beginning. It's like all tied up. And this Four of Pentacles to me like says it all. And I mean, if you see what this card looks like, if my autofocus will be nice. If you see what this card looks like, you have freaking death here with funny. I just realized that the entire time I was doing your reading that it was saying Aquarius. And I just switched it to Virgo. Sorry about that, Virgo. Pay me no mind. But as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by my janky laptop. I was saying everything it is that I'm saying here is encapsulated by this all tied up card in the Four of Pentacles. It's literally that, it's telling you from the beginning with speaking your truth about this. If you don't, right, that's starting the process of you binding yourself, in so many words. By you denying what it is that you're actually feeling, you're literally binding yourself, going to Home Depot, buying the rope and binding yourself. And what to watch out for is literally the fact that you can end up in this very stagnant Four of Pentacles energy. But it wouldn't be by happenstance. It would be by each choice that you're making to force yourself into this position. So this is a forewarning not to do that. It's like, you are justice. You are the one who gets to be judge, jury, and executioner, right? And you get to choose how this pans out. But it's making you consciously aware of however this pans out by, the end of the month going into August. It's all in your hands, just like it is for everyone else, right? It's not happenstance. It's all our choices. But anywho, Virgo, that has been your soul session. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please donate to my GoFundMe to help out your broke therapist friend so I can get a new laptop so we can stop doing this. But anyway, I love your freaking face. And I will see you guys sooner than later, my friends.